Hi, my name is Maddie.
And I'm Marylyn.
We are that one couple who walks. In episode 5 of our podcast, Love Transcends All, we're going to cover the 2 weeks before her weight loss surgery. We're going to cover the trip for her weight loss surgery and the 4 weeks post-op. Yeah, it has been that long since we've done a podcast. We do apologize. We have a lot going on in life, but now we're getting to it. Before we head on to like a TikTok live after this, we're going to go ahead and record this for you. So please stay tuned. This may be a longer podcast episode because of what we need to detail and cover and go through. So it is actually 4 weeks out since Marylyn had weight loss surgery. But we left you on the last podcast episode. We left you about 2 weeks before she had weight loss surgery. And I'm going to actually go ahead and ask her a question here. How was those 2 weeks before surgery? You had a pre-op diet where it was pretty strict. And that's hard on you mentally and physically. How did you handle that?
Oh yeah, it was definitely hard mentally and physically because the week before, 2 weeks before, I had to give up vegetables, and then the week before surgery I had to give up meat. And so I had like no strength at all. And so I kept pushing forward, but it was definitely hard. It is not the easy way out like some people say. It's definitely hard.
Yeah, a lot of people have said before her surgery that you're taking the easy way out. And as we talk about the surgery, her trip, our experience, you realize that it's not the easy way. So the week before the surgery, actually I think the 2 weeks before the surgery, we started packing because we had to make sure we had everything for flying and for training. We had everything right in the right size, right weight, all that. There's a lot when it comes to flying on an airplane. Flying on a train is a lot more, not flying. Going on a train is a lot more easier, but so the week before we left for the trip, how was your mind? Were you anxious?
Oh, I can definitely say that I was very nervous about the traveling. Not about the surgery. I was never nervous about surgery, but it was about the traveling. Like I would just get so nervous and overwhelmed and overthink about everything and stress about going to forget something or an important paper. I mean, in fact, I even had a dream that I forgot my license and my birth certificate. And so that was very difficult. Uh, and I definitely I packed my bag, my suitcase like several times. Several times, at least twice a day.
Yes, she did. And I will say this. When it comes to trips, I'm usually the one that's like, we got to this, and this. I actually surprisingly wasn't, but I also think the reason I'm on new anxiety meds that like calm me down and basically slow my mind down. So I'm adjusting to a new way my body's operating. And that's kind of why Maddie, stopped doing videos, a lot of my own videos on my own personal accounts because trying to focus on one account for content creation was enough for now for me. It's also why we're now just getting to this podcast episode because we were going to do one on the trip. It's just there was a lot of emotions going on, so we did not get to that.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot going on.
And let's talk about the day of when we left the first leg of our trip. So we had to wake up early to catch an Uber to go to the train station. And our train left, I think, at like 6:45, 7 o'clock in the morning from Pasco, Washington to Portland, Oregon. Now, let's get into your mind at that time. And it may be difficult remembering, but how were you feeling that day?
So before we took off, I was super nervous, super anxious. But I can say that the moment I walked on the train, all those nerves like went away. I knew it was okay. I knew it was going to happen. It was going to work out. Everything was going to work out, and was not nervous at all after that point.
That's good. Um, I for myself, because I'm going to share my experience as well. I would say that my nerves were just starting to kick in at that point. I've never been on a train before. I'm a trans woman traveling, presenting femme. Although most of the trip I opted just to use my headbands, but on the train I did have my wig on, and people are going to say, "Why are you talking about you? This is about her." Well, it's both of our experience. I'm going to nip that in the butt right there. You don't like it, you don't have to continue watching our stuff. It's that simple. So we were probably both nervous anyways. So we traveled to Portland. Took us 4 hours. It was a beautiful train ride. I got to see the Sky Car a little bit. Got to see the scenery. I got my, of course, my cup of coffee, um, and walked the train a little bit. And it was a great experience. And actually, I want to go on the train in the future. Okay, so we arrive at the train station in Portland, and that day was kind of a rough day for us because we attempted transit. So that will be kind of our next little story we tell here. I'll let Marylyn share some of that.
Yeah, so we arrived. It was about 11:15ish a.m. and we decided we would take the transit instead of an Uber to get to our hotel. Yeah, that was not fun. It was a lot of walking, which I was walking at that point, but it's still not as much as I could have been and not as much as I needed to for sure to get to the transit. And we missed the first one.
We missed the first train.
We missed the first train that we were supposed to get on.
Because the train wasn't labeled correctly on the one we needed to take.
No.
From having to walk a block and a half down the road to the light rail station in Portland. So we ended up on the connection area where the Moda Center is in Portland, but we wanted to take a certain train because the train we needed to hop on to go towards the airport, towards the hotel, happened to be in that spot. Yes, they all meet there. You can walk, but there was definitely a walking distance between the trains that we were wanting to avoid for her.
Mm-hmm.
For one, you got to realize at this point, she's only having like 800 calories in food each day because of the pre-op diet. So she needs to have a lot of energy to move, and already having issues with mobility. It's not a good mix.
Oh, it was definitely difficult.
It was a rough day. And then so we finally get on the train we need to towards the hotel. And so we get to the station we need, which is a little bit of a walk to the hotel, but not much. We could have done it, but after trying to take our suitcases, oh boy, this is just frustrating me because I got pissed. As we're attempting to take our suitcases off the light rail, we're getting to the door.
The door
they didn't even give anybody a chance to like get off.
Get on or
like,
off.
They didn't even see
no.
It was ridiculous because
it was so fast.
We had like 2 seconds. We're trying to get off the train, and then they kept going. So I was like, no, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna say that word. Fuck it. That's exactly what I thought. So we got to the next station, got out really quick. We were able to get out, luckily, because there's people coming in and off, on and off, and we just called an Uber
for that
to take us for like a mile to go to the hotel. That frustrated both of us.
Mm-hmm.
We were so tired that night. We
got to our hotel early. Even though we had been told that we could get there early, when we got there, our room wasn't done yet. In fact, the guy wasn't even out of the room yet.
Yeah. No, the guy wasn't out of the room yet.
No, he wasn't even out of the room yet. So they were like, well, you can just wait and come back, or you can just whatever. If you want to, we can get you all set up. And then once he's out of there, it'll get clean like right away. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, well, there's 2 rooms right now available, but I'm going to put you in this room still because it's a good room. And I'm like, whatever. Okay, fine. So we sat on the stairs, and the housekeeper came down, and she was trying to get the guy to come out. He still hadn't came out of the room yet, and I heard him tell her. I heard the guy at the front desk tell her, we are just gonna go ahead and give her a different room and just have him stay in that room because they were changing rooms for him, I guess. And I'm like, okay, good, 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 good. And I told Maddie, we were actually sitting right next to the room. I told Maddie, I said, I bet you this is the room they're going to put us in. And sure enough, it was that room. I'm telling you, that was not a good room. It was a nice size, yes, but it smelled so bad. It was so strong of a smell.
It was. You gotta also remember too, we did not sleep the night before because of just
didn't.
nerves and stuff. We didn't get any sleep. I think we maybe got some sleep on the train, so we barely maybe got an hour or two of sleep the night before. So we finally get to bed. Long story short, we finally got to bed there. So now it is day 2 of our trip. We're going to talk about, and I'm going to ask Marylyn again how she was feeling that day.
Oh, I was excited. I was so ready to get going and get on our flight to San Diego so we could get to the hotel and relax because it was time. We had one more day until we went to the surgical center, and I was just pumped. So pumped.
So we wake up fairly early, thinking that our plane was going to leave at 9:45 or somewhat in the morning.
Yes.
So we got up early because we wanted to be morning security for morning flights. You always got to be careful. And actually, I will say this: if there's any airport you want to chill out at, Portland would be
definitely, yes.
Definitely is one of the nicest I've been to. Even if it's under construction, they still, the new terminal we were in for that was nice. But even so, I think just in general, it's a nice
It is. It's
airport.
A very nice airport, yes.
With that being said, we had to wait. So at first it was like
Well, hold on. So we called an Uber, and we checked out, and we're sitting there on the curb, waiting for the Uber. And as the Uber pulls up, we get the first notification that it was delayed for 3 hours. And I'm like, are you serious? Not that we wanted to stay in the room because it smelled, but I was like, are you serious? We've got a 3-hour delay. So we get to the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then we get to the airport, and then we check our bags in. We go through security, which that's another thing. I'll let Marylyn tell this part of the story.
So a big chunk of Maddie's anxiety is she's never been on a plane before, and as a trans woman, she was worried that TSA was going to have to pat her down. Well, funny story, she didn't have to get patted down. I actually had to because I brought protein powder with me, thinking, okay, I'll just make this easy on myself. I'll have my protein powder with me, and I'll be able to make my shakes because that's all I can have right then and there. Yeah, well, they had to check it. They had to do 2 kinds of tests on it, and they had to pat me down, and it took a little bit to get done, didn't it?
It took a little bit, but guess what? We had all the time in the world.
Oh, exactly.
It worked out.
It did. So we chilled at the airport.
So yeah, so luckily, I'll continue a little bit here to give you a break. Luckily, we had time, so we actually went on live on TikTok a few times just because I thought our followers would like to see us. Because there was actually a time when a trip we couldn't go live much, but we went live at the airport. Among other things, we did a few of our videos. Basically every time we arrived somewhere, we left somewhere, we try to do an update and provide some footage, and we have actually very well documented on TikTok. I say TikTok because that's where the playlist is created for the trip. Although Facebook allows that now, so I'll have to go back to videos and make a playlist for Facebook. But yeah, I had some coffee there. We walked around. They have all user restrooms. That was good for me.
That was awesome.
Yes. Comfy seats for the most part.
Yeah, they were.
The very first seats we got to were next to the window, so they were like very comfy lounge seats. I had myself an adult beverage in airport, which I can now mark off my bucket list of items, and that was a very expensive bucket list of an item at $20 for a freaking margarita. That's crazy, but it is the airport, so people are like probably laughing at me right now and be like, no, that's just how it is at airports. So, how delayed was the airplane?
It ended up being
6 or 7 hours.
6 hours late.
Yeah, 6 hours late. So we finally get to where we go on the airplane. This is where I'll talk about it a little bit because Marylyn has experience flying, and so this is where more of my anxiety lays. But we board. We got really good seats because we got a pre-board. That was one of the benefits, I guess, of having disabilities. I don't know. That's not really a benefit. I shouldn't say that, but we got a pre-board because of that, and so finally took off. And I do not like that takeoff feeling. That's why I don't like roller coasters. But it was manageable for me. I had my medicine. I had a free alcoholic drink on board because they provided it to me for free because how delayed we were, and we actually happened to hit a lot of turbulence on that flight, in which basically we couldn't go to the bathroom.
No.
And so we had to hold it most of the flight, and that was interesting. And I had to go to the bathroom at the San Diego airport. And I'll say this, San Diego airport is definitely not my favorite. They are rebuilding Terminal 1, which we were at, and so it'll be better in the future, but we were there at the old Terminal 1 in San Diego. How was the flight for you? I'll ask that.
I really enjoyed it. Southwest was very nice and accommodating. They, sorry. I had a wheelchair to get me into the plane, and the steward was really nice. He discreetly gave me the extender. He was right there and he had it in his hand. He goes, "Here, I think this will make it easier for you on this flight." And the seats were, like I said, super comfy. You could flip up the armrest of the second seat, and so I had plenty of room, unlike my last experience on a plane.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, a lot of coughing. I'm not. This is a raw podcast meeting. I don't have no energy to edit this except putting some music on it. So you're gonna get what you get with this podcast. So it is like I'm still recovering. So we called. It was rainy that day in San Diego.
Yep.
It's not always sunny in San Diego. That's not even a term. I don't think. I think it might be a term. I don't know. Whatever. Ignore me. Ignore my stupid metaphors. And so we had to wait in the rain for the Uber. I guess I could have used the wheelchair to wheel her out to the platform where the Ubers come. But anyways, we called the Uber, got to the hotel. This hotel was actually better.
Yeah, it was a decent hotel.
In my opinion, it was basically to the hotel to eat and sleep.
Mm-hmm.
We ordered some stuff, some water and stuff from the store, so I had water. But it was sleep. For the next day, we had a little bit of time to sleep in. So we get picked up by the surgical center the next day. So I guess that really does that entail it for day 2? I mean, there's not much. It's a traveling day. Not much to talk about there.
Yeah, no, we just explored the airport, and then we just chilled in the hotel.
Explored the airport.
Put a mask on, and just had a good time.
Yeah, we did have a mask, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We bought the mask. That's right, we bought it. So
yeah, because we had a mask before and after.
So day 3. This is probably where Marylyn's anxiousness picked up a little bit more.
No, it didn't.
Okay, well, mine maybe.
Yours did. Mine did. I had no anxiety after we got on the train. I had no anxiety.
So going into day 3, how did you feel?
I was so excited because I knew it was that day. That day was the day we'd get picked up. We'd go to the surgical center, and it would happen for me the next day. I was just a bundle of energy, excited. We got up. We were on live for a little bit, weren't we? We did a
Yes, that
little bit
morning
of,
we went on live
yeah,
for
we
a
got on
little bit.
live.
We wanted to give that as much of that experience to our TikTok
Yes.
followers as possible. We are influencers on social media. I don't like using that word because I see myself just as anybody else. But at some point, when you have a certain kind of following, you are considered an influencer.
Exactly.
But I just like to see us as fellow humans.
We're still people.
We are still
just
people.
Like everybody else.
Yes, we are. So we did, and then picked us up. Went to the ATM to get the cash for the trip. Picked some other people up at the airport.
Yep.
Right after that, we were the first pickup. We arrived at the surgical center, where the outside was sketchy.
Yes, it definitely blended in with the
Actually,
neighborhood.
Let's back up. The border crossing.
Oh yeah.
So that was interesting. Crossing to another country because I'd never done that before.
We got to take a few pictures and a video before we had to put our phones away.
And that was on
so
social
we didn't
media.
get in trouble.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Then we get to the surgical center, and yes, it's sketchy, but once you get to the inside, it definitely
it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous, yes.
It is. It's gorgeous. It's clean. It's
so
reminded me of it makes me think of a spaceship.
So that's basically pre-registration for surgery is what that basically is.
Yes. So I had to get an EKG done, and I had to get blood work done.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to fill out a ton of paperwork. And one little scribble, one little mess up, I had to redo the whole paper. So I think I had to do 9 pages over again, I think. And then I got to pay. And then we had to wait for a couple other patients to finish up.
Yep. And then it was off to the beach house, which was a beautiful drive, once I stay, because you get to drive along the coast to go to the beach house. And so, yeah, you do start up kind of on the border. You get to see the wall more. Yeah, that wall. It's that wall. That's all I'll say about that. And then,
and that's how they say it too.
Yes,
yeah, that wall.
That's exactly how they said it. Everybody said it in the car, actually. So then we got to Rosarito, Mexico. Beach house. She had a class really quick. We went to the room. You know, we had roommates. We talked to the roommates a little bit. I ordered some food. We didn't really do any of this spot. We were just tired. We just kind of stayed in the room.
Oh, we went out. We did a live. We chatted outside.
We did a live with the beach. So that's what we did.
We watched the sunset.
We had to really get to bed. Yeah, we did. And then we had to get to bed early because
we had to get up at 5.
Yeah, to go to the surgical center.
Yep.
So I mean, if you're gonna do this surgery through them, booking a couple of extra days at the beach house may not even be a bad idea. They let you do that.
Yes.
But no, it was still enjoyable. My experience at the surgical center was enjoyable. I had drinks, although they were not always filled up. I had coffee. So then we got to they picked us up. We got to the surgical center the day of her surgery.
And then it was time to get ready.
And that's kind of when that day, that time was when my nerves hit in more.
Nerves hit, yes.
We had to wait a couple hours after they prepped her. They got her IV and stuff in.
Yes, because I was third in line.
When she went back, I got nervous. But the surgery went well. I was kind of nervous because I thought it took longer than it should have. But I also was like, all these messages were coming at me on social media. People were texting me. And I probably inadvertently forgot to update certain people. But
I know you forgot to update one person.
Yeah, and my anxiety was super.
Yeah, your anxiety was high.
I didn't have like THC there because you're not allowed to have it there. So I had my anxiety pills, which they work well, but I find certain other things work better for my anxiety. So that was So then she finally gets back around 5 or 6, I think.
It was like 6:30.
6:30 to the room.
Yeah.
And she immediately has to go to the restroom. So y'all let you kind of tell this now.
Yeah. Okay. So I go down, and I'm waiting there for my turn, and I'm just relaxing in the bed, and it's my turn for the surgery, and it was really weird. Like the he put the mask on me, and and he told me, this is oxygen, and then I could start tasting when he changed it, and then I was out, and I briefly remember waking up, and them telling me that I'm going to stay in the recovery room for about 20 minutes, and I was like, okay, cool, cool, and then I was back out, and then they woke me up and said, okay, it's time to go back to the room, but we're going to leave you on the bed. And I'm like, perfect. So I'm back out again, kind of in and out, up, down, because the surgery room floor was on the top floor, on the fourth floor. So I went back down to the second floor, and they got me onto my bed, and I was like, I gotta pee. They're like, you gotta pee? I'm like, I gotta pee. So they helped me up out of the bed, and I went pee real quick, came back, and I passed back out for about an hour. And then I was up. I was ready. I was up, and Maddie had me walking around.
She was ready, and she was actually awake most of the night.
Mm-hmm.
I did rest a little bit that night. And so let's fast forward to the next day to where she gets her leak test and her drain tube cleaned out. So that was the next biggest thing with getting to go forward.
So the leak test. So you get taken to the lab, which is I want to say it's like a mile away, maybe, and you have to drink a little bit of barium, which is so disgusting. So if you get it, definitely take some Listerine strips. That's my biggest thing to tell y'all. So you drink half this barium, and then you stand on this platform, which is really like small, but it's cool. You stand on this platform and you go up, and they x-ray your stomach after you drink the second part of the barium. And that was it. That's the leak test. So then we all take our turns, because there was like a dozen of us.
I don't know how much went with you.
I think there was like a dozen of us. So we all take our turns doing this leak test, and we all get back up on the bus and go back to the surgical center, and then wait our turn for our drain tubes to get out. Mine, I got taken out that day. There was a couple that had to wait till the next day, but I got mine taken out. I really wanted Maddie to film it, but Maddie saw it, and she was like, no, I can't even.
I could not film that.
She couldn't.
I'm going to go ahead and say this really quick too. She was up walking really good during all this. She did a good job recovering. So yeah, she got it taken out. How did that feel?
Yeah. So it's the weirdest feeling as it's coming out, but when it finally got out completely, it was like a burning, stinging sensation for about a minute or two, but then it went away. And it was funny because they normally put it on your left side, but my left side didn't like it, and it kept bleeding, so they had to put it on my right side. So it kept tripping up the nurse. The physician who was helping with the surgery, or the surgeon that was helping with the surgery, she came in and she goes, I was really surprised that you were up and walking as fast as you were. And I was like, oh, really? Yeah. And my surgeon, the main surgeon, Dr. Q, he came in and he goes, I really thought you were going to be the problem patient, the one that was going to have like all these problems and everything like that. And I was like, really? No. I had like barely any pain, no gas pain. The 1 to 2 out of 10 was my pain level. 3 to 4 at the most out of 10. But that was only on days that we traveled. But really, it was like a crazy experience that I did not have everything, like a lot of people do. So we got the tube out, and we stayed the night again, right?
Yes, it was one night we had to stay.
Yeah, we stayed one more night.
What happened that night? it was kind of cool that one person went on the other side of the room with her mom, the one patient with her mom, and we stayed on the other side of the room to kind of watch TV until it was time to. We each had our own area to kind of spend time with our companions and the patients and watch TV, relax, and then we went to the beach house the next day. Marilyn was feeling pretty good
I was, yes.
then. Now the the beach house experience is pretty much the same as when we went there. It was a nice room. We walked out a little bit more. We walked the market. We
Oh yeah, we walked the market and we explored the property.
Yeah.
But we didn't go on the beach because I was told I could not go on the beach.
Then you that was day what? I don't even know what day it is now at this point.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
well, that was Thursday,
So then
day 4.
she went to the bathroom where you had to pay actually at the market.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, I start walking in and I see this little hand come out. I'm like, what?
So then we stayed the night at the beach house. This is all boring stuff. We stayed at the beach house. Next morning we had a 9:30 pickup to go back to San Diego. First they take you to the surgical center where she actually had to get some blood pressure checked. Anyways, before we headed out back to the U.S.
Yeah, because my blood pressure was a little high, so they wanted to check it to make sure it was okay. And I ended up getting some blood pressure meds to take for 5 days. 5 days just to make sure I was okay.
And then along the border in Mexico side you have a lot of vendors that try to sell you stuff. So it's like a last minute entrepreneurship kind of thing for them, which I thought was kind of cool. I guess they're trying to make money.
Yeah,
Trying
we got to go through the medical lane, so you could skip a bunch of the wait, because it's like a 3-hour wait or something to go through. But we got to skip a bunch of it because we went through the medical lane. But it's really cool on the border because there's like a market right on the side of the road with it's just like an open
That's what I
wall
was saying
market,
though. Little entrepreneurs trying.
open wall market, and then there was people walking around too.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you were talking about, was the people walking around.
I was. So we got back to the U.S. Actually dropped us off at the rental car place. We were there in San Diego for a couple of days. We wanted a vehicle. Actually gave us a deal because we said we couldn't afford the first price, and they went around ahead and made it cheaper.
Yeah,
So I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
it would have been cheaper than using Uber for the things we did want to do there. So we rented a car. So we had 2 days there. We seen the lighthouse while we were there. We've seen some beaches.
seals.
Seals. We
Sea lions.
basically just drove around and enjoyed the air and the scenery. That was basically what we relaxed. So now it's time to return the car to the car rental place. We did that. It was easy.
And we lucked out because we were right there and nobody was in the bus, the transit bus, to take us to the airport. So we were right there. We popped on, and we made it to the terminal.
Made it to the terminal about an hour or so before we had to go. So we were not too early. We purposely kept the rental till the last minute.
Yeah.
And drove around as much as possible the day we had to fly out. We flew out that night. We got to Portland. Went to a different hotel in Portland. Now, the next biggest experience I want to share, because this is just all traveling and stuff, nothing fancy. I want to bore you with details, but was the Uber driver we took from our hotel to the train station.
Oh, goodness.
So I'll let Marylyn tell this story.
All right, so our hotel that we stayed in has a gate, and when we took the Uber to the hotel, he told us how they had to get a ticket through the gate.
They get the parking validated.
They get validated.
Yep.
Thank you. So we knew that that's what the next Uber driver would have done. So we get the Uber. We're waiting for her to come, and she texts and she's like, "I can't get in." And I'm like, "You go through the gate." And so she calls me and she's like, I can't come in. And so I'm trying to explain to her that you get the ticket, you come, you get it validated. And she kept trying to argue with me. And I'm like, get the ticket, come in, validate. It's absolutely fine. It's super easy. So she finally does that. She gets the ticket, she comes in. Maddie actually grabbed the ticket from her so that Maddie could get it validated for her. And we pull out of the hotel and she goes the wrong way down the road.
Yeah, because to the hotel, because the hotel is literally from the airport way.
Yeah.
You have a road that goes off from the hotel. That's one way in, one way out. She went the way
She
for
went the
coming in, then went
wrong
back
way.
to the road.
Yes.
And then her driving was not the best.
Oh no, it was scary.
It was that was a not want to say Uber ride from hell, but
No, it wasn't the hell from hell, but that was definitely scary.
So unsettling. When we got to the train station, we waited a while there. We actually waited as long as we could at the hotel for the most part.
Yeah, we waited till checkout. Yeah.
So we had to wait at the train station, of course, because it was only like a 20-minute Uber.
We
Uber
were at the train
yeah.
station for a couple hours.
But, I mean, it's a beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful train station.
That's not a train station you want to get stuck at in the middle of summer though, because there isn't AC there. I don't know if we do that or not. But there's not AC there, and so that's actually something to note for our trips in the future.
Yes.
So sure. we finally get home that night. Oh, actually no. So I guess a follower seen us at the train station.
Yeah, she saw me because you had ran to the restroom, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw me. She's like, I just wanted to come over and say hi. I follow you, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Thank you. And then Maddie walked up and she's like, hi. And so we talked for like a minute before she rushed off. So I thought that was really cool that we got spotted at the train station.
And then we, of course, for our train ride home, Pasco, our brother-in-law picked us up. I actually had bought him sandals there. So that's probably the reason he picked us up. He's not going to listen to this podcast, so don't worry. But Mexico's from sandals. We bought sandals from Mexico. We bought them for him because he's wanted a pair. So we got home. We were tired. We didn't really unpack. We had unpacked, but not like.
Yeah,
I don't think we were still unpacking it days later, but we settled in. So then this is, of course, when this starts her pre-op. So what the first week of pre-op for you? Post-op. Wow, sorry. Post-op. I'm not editing this out. This is raw. Sorry, y'all. How was that?
Liquids.
Yes, liquids.
No energy again.
No energy, but she still went out and walked.
I still walk, yeah. Obviously, I'm walking more than I was then, but we still went out and walked, and it was very tiring though. I did have to take naps during that time. First week is thin liquids. So it's pretty much like the post-op. Only the first week you can't have the yogurt.
Pre-op, you mean?
Pre-op. It's like the pre-op, but you can't have yogurt for the first week. The second week you can have the yogurt, which I was happy to have the yogurt the second week. That was nice.
So then the third week?
The third week was purees, and third week is when I started purees and testing out my stomach, which if you've ever had it, you know that your stomach likes some things and doesn't like things. And I found out stuff that my stomach likes and doesn't like. And I'm still learning,
That was the last 2 weeks. Up until today. Was this
the puree? Yeah. Puree.
Today she started actually.
Today I started soft. Yep.
Soft. And that's where we are. Now, sorry. I rushed a little bit through this, but I think the main part was how we're feeling up into the surgery and the surgery. But then now, like, really, how are you feeling after the surgery now? Like, now that it's 4 weeks
I'm feeling really good.
That's kind of why I'm glad I waited to do this.
Yeah, no. I'm feeling really good. I definitely have more energy than I did before. I'm able to walk more. Like today, I was able to walk almost a whole quarter mile nonstop without stopping. Like, I really pushed myself, and I'm so excited because I was just released to be able to start working out, which they said we weren't going to be able to until 6 weeks. But she told me today on the phone that I could start working out. So that's very
Well, she was
exciting.
already working out or walking. But
Walking.
then no, today was more of a workout pushers. She
Yeah.
pushed herself today because of that, though.
hmm
She did the stairs, I think, once.
One
But
time so far.
I'm proud of her. Now, how much weight have you lost? So, okay, she's drinking something. 1 second, y'all.
In all, since our journey started, well, I weighed myself today after I ate, so it's not official like how much I've actually lost. But if you count the 2 pounds I'm down when I weighed myself today, that would be 74 in all, 24 since the surgery.
That's awesome. It is slowing down, but you're having more solid foods.
Yeah, I'm having more
And
solid foods, but I'm
so,
definitely losing inches.
yes, you are. And you're going to push yourself to do the best you
Mm-hmm.
can with this tool, and I know you will.
Yes.
So, I appreciate everybody listening to this podcast. It is a little bit of a longer podcast for us, but there was a lot to unpack because we have not done a podcast. We kind of took a little hiatus off that, mainly because of our mental energy. Not that anybody cares. I was dealing with among all this pre-op issues with my anxiety, so I had to dedicate a lot of my mental energy, like I said, to all of this, to all of her, so she can have as much as me as possible during the process. But we made it through. We're going to do more episodes of our podcast. Now, our podcast is Love Transcends All, and it's where we want to share stories like we have of our love story, but we do want to have other episodes where we talk to other couples that are in similar situations or an example of how they can overcome love or overcome what society might deem as obstacles for a normal relationship, and talk about how love can transcend all, can transcend boundaries, whatever you want to say there. Is there any last few words you would like to say on this?
I just want to say thank you, baby, for being there for me, and thank you all our family, our supporters, everybody that's been there for us throughout this whole journey. We really appreciate it. We couldn't have done this without all of you.
No, we can't. No, that's not a lie.
No, it's not.
We are two humans that have gotten some attention on social media. We call ourselves influencers. We use that term only because of that. But at the end of the day, I'm Maddie. I'm
And
human. I bleed just the same as everyone that listens to us. And so we want to inspire others through our stories. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.